gvSIG. The next lecture, gvSIG-Fonsagua, Technology for Human Development, is going to be given by Gonzalo Martinez. And this presentation has also been prepared by Anton Amado, ICARTO. First of all, I would like to say that I am the last link of this chain. I shouldn't even be here, but this is a big project in which we were very happy to cooperate. Although we are presenting the meeting for the last few years, there have been many progresses, new things, so this is almost a new development, which is the origin of this project, mainly from Engineering Without Frontiers. This is an NGO that works in a question of technology for human development and many engineering projects, although not only engineering, and the head of the project allows us to participate in one of the most interesting parts, technological parts, which is very useful for the project. So I asked Cartolab, and Cartolab is giving to ICARTO a small part, so I am the last one in the channel, but it is an honor for me to present this experience here, so I'm very happy. This is the contents. I'll try to present the background for you to understand the project. Then I'll tell you about technology for human development, Fonsagua, what is Fonsagua, and phase 3 as one example, conclusions, and which are the contributions that it has for the world, which are universal, and I'm sure that they are going to be very interesting for many people. So now we'll go to the background of this project, and before starting the project, I'll make a short comment because we should consider what we have in our head when we work in projects related to water. As in many countries of the world which do not have our situation, we speak about crisis, and it's very difficult. But sometimes when you travel abroad and when we work with water, we are based on the fact that the access to water and healthcare is a human right, and it was acknowledged in 2010 by the United Nations. That was extremely important because up to that moment, access to water was not considered human development, and that justifying some policies in some countries which were not guaranteeing what used to be a service and now is a right. The same Assembly of the United Nations states that the sufficient unnecessary resources should be made available in order to meet and satisfy this right. And that has a lot to do with governance, which is also an access for this meeting here. And the idea we were reflecting upon this morning, because also the water crisis and the lack of hydric safety in which many parts of our population lives in the world. It's not by chance, it's not a question of wars, it's not a question of of lack of economic resources. Everything has an influence, but the fact is that this is a right and that should be guaranteed by the government. In this country lately, we are noticing the importance of those policies, but in other parts of the world, they are there for centuries, and we have to improve this. So we could cooperate in improving the governability, the governance in the water sector in order to overcome this problematic situation. Focusing on the history and not so much in the concept that surrounds the history. Then we go to San Salvador and Honduras, which are in about position 100 of the ranking. We started to work with very simple projects, which is helping the population to build a new filtering facility. It can be experienced very quickly, and it can provide very good service to many people, while the relevance is limited. But after this, the networks were extended, and we started to work with many NGOs. The project was sent to Honduras, and also the other equipment it carried. That leads us that in Engineering Without Borders, a project which is the administration of water supply from El Salvador. And the project had an incidence in all the issues I mentioned you, so that the necessary tools should be provided so that the rural sector receives a better provision of resources, because it's always the worst positioned. The coverage rates are lower than in an urban sector. What should we do during this intervention? On behalf of the NGO, they are working with many different organizations in what they call an integral management plan for hydric resources. So they go to the communities, they explain which is their situation, they ask the community where there are those resources, and which are the communities, which is the people, how is the community organization. Then if the community wants to give some help and improve this, then we start to work with them. And the map are wonderful. The number of houses, the number of people living in each house, the number of streets, which are the main roads, the main paths followed by the people, and so on. And then we start to introduce mathematics, and we have to process many data, and then we extract a series of reports which are given to the community, so that the community decides why they want to do that, because sometimes you have better, worse questions, but it is the community who should decide. This methodology of plan, which has 6 steps, and they do that to Salvadoreñas, that they may their own. this has to do with another central idea of the technology for human development, because I realize that sorry, I'm running a bit, but we have to think in technology. Perhaps this technology is useful for human development, or perhaps it's inert. Any tank, any source can be useful for human resources that lies beyond the so-called appropriate technologies, and is placed in what we understand as global citizenship, because you can put what you see here in the tobacco. And I'm starting to tell part of the project Fonsagua when we get in. At the time in which, for a community, you have to create many different alternatives with a series of data, in which you have to consider many variables, the economic resources of the community, and so on. That's really very busy, and for full administration of a city like Paris, it can be impossible. But here we have a technology which is a non-neutral technology, and we made this technology available in order to improve this project. gvSIG-Fonsagua help us introduce all the land data in Fonsagua, which is helping to put all this in order, and that is in a Postgres tool, whichever its origin is, because this is a project for ANDA, which perhaps it has some people that have knowledge so as to work in this project, but some people don't have that knowledge, and this is then used by city councils and associations, etc. Fonsagua does different alphanumeric calculations, geometrical calculations, and has integrated PANET, which is a program for the calculation of hydric networks, a part of the code. We have integrated a significant part of the functionalities in the panel. Once all the alternatives have been shown, then the alternatives which are not useful are removed in order that the community sees what they need, and they do studies about which is the best supply. These are two steps of this management plan for hydric resources, and the flow is taking the data, calculate the parameters, and generate the reports. There are different versions of Fonsagua, because even if this is used with iGRES, not always you have internet, or not, you don't have other things, and it has been binded for the commuter of and it's been used in some cases with city councils in order to obtain the local, and in order not to need a server in order to provide service to Fonsagua. The newest part is the integration of a PANET in gvSIG. What before required to get into a network in order to do all the calculation, we can do that in gvSIG which includes some correction features which are new and which were not necessary in EPANET because it was not necessary. For instance, which is the water supply that a region can have in El Salvador. gvSIG is the SIG of the desk, and some of the plugins and libraries have been adapted or in some of them were done in Postgres for the part of Fonsagua which is in Postgres, and we have created two plugins which are in two public repositories. One is called Fonsagua, which is personal from the project, etc., and the other is separated, which is the gvSIG-Fonsagua. So here we are a new plugin para do different examples. And then we can have 5 minutes for comments about this video. In the video we are going to do that much better. It starts with a connection to the database in the modality of Postgres. There is no problem, and then you get into one of the modules with the import and the digitalization of data. Then I get into Fonsagua, and gvSIG has changed because we have touched the buttons and we have put new GSP treated companies, or they have been clean in steps, and I don't want the user to open Postgres. So these are tools that allow you to open the table of your GPX, and then what they do is to migrate directly to the database where data should be present, so that Fonsagua makes the necessary arrangements. And this is this is very important, and you don't need any knowledge about data in order to be able to work with this. Rich people can be a little bit crazy, but they know and they know how to tell you what is this direction for. I have a huge quantity of the report which is made by the region is very large. They take data about the fragmented population, how many consumptions I have for everything, how is the share, if the communities were organized or not, the educational centers will see the quantity of children we can have, and all those data are useful for the NGOs, for the mayors. Then I can make a calculation of alternatives, and then I tell the computer the area where I'm going to create that alternative. I have a small geographical retardament. And the program helps us. So as far as we know, which is the consumption of each family, they will tell me whether the family will be enough for the projects that I have under development. For those of you who have used this program, you will see that the icons are the same, so that a hydraulic technician is so then they get more familiar with the icons. Then the drawings are really ugly, but as far as this is a calculation issue, the aesthetic is not finished because the project is not finished, and we will continue working with it as soon as we have ortho pictures. We can introduce that the whole network as soon as I have all the tubes inside. For instance, sizing a pump, which type of pumping I wish, which type of pumping I have. If I have 50 people with the flows that I need, which is the power for the pump that I have to use. We took it from Eptanet, but we have done a series of simplifications, so that this is something more of a sudden, because usually once I have simulated the network, in case these are errors, he will tell me, it's like in the bathroom, the water is not reaching that area because there is not water enough. Then I know that I have to resize the piping in a different way. Regarding the budget, that's very important in order to calculate which is the price I have to pay in order to finish with this adventure. We work a lot with the issue of a quota per person, because that's what makes a system sustainable, that the families can pay for it. Once all the calculations have been done and the results are satisfactory, then I can take out all the reports with all data, and these are even avoidable. So in case I have to change something, which normally is very common, or including text or images or whatever, that's not a problem. You can do that. This is something which is quite comfortable when you are working on it in more corporate kinds of environment. For instance, the provincial authorities that have to do my reports, and if not, it would be impossible to work with them. So I think that I can skip this. These are the reports. And for instance, they are saying that the tariff system is not working well. And then I'll go back to the presentation. This is a small example of what Fonsagua is doing for your information. Some lessons which have been learned from this project. A few of them, the project is not completely finished, but they ask us for a few things. When we work with so many different people, with communities, and with different administrations far away, it's very difficult to maintain the communication. The dissemination of this project is very important, because it cannot remain as such as a small tool, but we want this to be disseminated and that other people can take advantage of it, and that in the communication all roles should be represented. It is very important that the people which are going to use it, the people who are going to provide maintenance, the people who are going to repair it, all these can destroy the project at any point. So then we should make sure that everybody should be involved in a project like this right from the beginning. In the specific case of ANDA, we should do things much more quicker, much faster, because then you have the right dimension of the processes. You need an accurate design of the supply, the water supply. It is true that EPANET is not doing everything that the GIS EPANET has. But we do not want this to be made very difficult. Sorry, Gonzalo. We didn't want this to take too much time or resources. It allows an objective assessment of the alternatives, and as a result, the tool EPANET gvSIG-Connect, which is already published. We have it ready. You can test it, you can use it, and for other projects which are linked to water supply, this is going to be a really interesting project, and we can take most advantage of it. We have to work with the alternatives module, with the analytic management that was not possible to work in depth with it. These are the two tools which are in Fonsagua. Fonsagua contains everything. This is the repository of the project, and then from Fonsagua you can extract the gvSIG-Connect, which has nothing to do with Fonsagua, but is just the module which is integrated. I would like to thank the founders and all the people that have been cooperating with this project. This was a really complex project which is still alive, and that's all. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Gonzalo, por este proyecto tan interesante.
Thank you. Well, it's not really a question, actually. Two comments to Oscar. First of all, congratulations on your project. It's really interesting for someone like you to have undertaken such a project and without any programming knowledge. And secondly, you didn't say it, but let me remind you that there is a script repository on the website with successful stories. Do you know it? If you enter that section, successful stories, you will see the scripts. And in that section, you are allowed to create your own scripts. Then they are categorized and readily accessible for inquiries, which is very useful. As you mentioned, sharing, very important. So it's a tool for the whole of the community, really.
¿Alguna pregunta más?
Any more questions? Well, thank you, Antonio, and thank you to the other colleagues too. Thank you, Oscar, for your contribution, and thank you, Gonzalo, for your very interesting social project. Thank you, and to all of you too.